Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing this evening?
I'm good. Hello.
Welcome. Everyone, I have a special treat for us tonight. Oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing and awesome. If you're here, right, do me a favor, make sure you say hello. Let us know where you're from, and we're going to have a good time. I'm Yvette Jet. I am the coach for career driven women, and I help them find the pivot, right? I help them thrive in their next career role or what they're doing right now. And if this is something that you think you like, or someone or another woman that likes this as well, make sure you share this with them. But tonight, I have one of my clients with me, and I'm so excited. Cree, say hello to everyone. This is
Hey,
Cree.
hey, hey.
This
Hello,
is
everyone out
Cree.
there in internet land.
Internet land. Oh my gosh. This is I call Cree my sister friend. We've been together now almost 8 weeks, 8 or 9, maybe 7 weeks now, 7 or 8 weeks. And she's amazing. So she agreed to be here with me. She is pivoting into a Scrum Master role. Her resume is phenomenal. And so we've been working over the last few weeks, just refining her resume, understanding her strengths and her abilities, and seeing how those are transferable. So we're at the tail end of our session, our 8 week, what is it, 6-figure salary in a box. And
Yep.
so we're at the end. And so we're about to wrap it up in a couple of weeks. I said, Creed, come on live with me. Let's do some interview live. She's like, that, okay. So
Well, I was like, okay.
okay, yeah, that's what she really did. All right, I did make it seem a lot simpler than that. She's like, okay, sure. So, she does it because she loves me. She's like, oh, fine. So yeah. So we have some people here. Let's see. We have, is it Salitha? I guess I hope I said that right. From Kentucky. Hello. I'm glad you're excited for this. I am too. So you have your eye on the Scrum Master Toolkit class on the 22nd. What will be shared here? Oh my goodness. I don't, here is nothing compared to what I share in the Scrum Master Toolkit class. I don't know why you're waiting. I don't know why you're eyeballing it. Because I will close, I'm going to close that down. I'm going to keep that to a small group. But anyone that's been in my Scrum Master Toolkit class knows that we go in that room. So
I was in that class, and ladies, sign up, sign up, sign up. Because I took a Scrum Master class to get certified. But it really helped to take Yvette's toolkit class because it kind of expounded on what I was learning in the actual certification class. And so it was just very helpful when it came down to taking my certification and passing. So
yeah.
if you're gonna do the Scrum Master, definitely take the toolkit class. It's definitely worth it, and it's fun.
Yay, thank you, Corinne. And I did not pay her to say that, y'all. I promise you. And we did not rehearse that. So
No.
I did. No, thank you, Cree, for that. I appreciate it. And I tell people, Cree, this is the honest truth about that as well. Right now, we're in some unprecedented times, right? My thing is, we as women need to have as many skills as we can in our back pocket so we can pivot. This is my thing. I'm teaching you how to, on day one, go into an organization and be a scrum master. I'm teaching you that if you don't want to go in and be a scrum master, you can add it to anything that you do right now. So it's not just about getting a job, but it's about having skills. It's about putting some things on your resume. Because what I do is make sure that you can put Confluence, Jira, Mural, all that on your resume. And just having those skills, getting the certificate. I don't do certifications, I do a certificate. Just having that makes you more competitive. So that's the difference. That is the huge difference. We got Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Can't wait. And make sure you come. It was gonna be fun. I need to pay soon. Yeah, you need to pay soon. Get it while it's hot. Hello, Melissa. How are you doing? Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. I heard you on another video say to take your class. Yes, I recommend that. If you never heard of Scrum, it's going to be a foreign concept to you. It's a foreign concept to anyone. It was foreign to me before I knew about it and got certified and trained and started doing it for years. So it was new to me as well. And so it could be a lot and overwhelming. And so I take out that frustration before you get there. So when you're in the room with other people that may know about Agile, may know about Scrum, is not foreign to you. So yeah, so there's a link. Make sure you sign up. It's on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of this month. So get it while it's hot and get some skills, y'all. Ladies, get some skills. But that's enough of that right now. So Creed, let's talk about you. So I have your resume pulled up on the back end here, right? And I know we want to get into some coaching things. Is there anything that you want me to cover in particular before you talk me through your resume? And I'm going to tell you how all that integrates into Scrum, and how you can speak to it when you're in an interview, right? And then, of course, that leads me into a whole nother topic of interview questions and things like that. I'm gonna get some notes. So, anything you want me to cover in particular?
No, I mean, honestly, like understanding how to convert because after, in taking the certification class and
Mhm.
taking your class and, taking the test, it really is, applicable to many other jobs.
Exactly.
So to a large degree, especially as coming from being a supervisor, I was already doing Scrum.
Mm-hmm.
And in the way that I did my job, in the way that I handled my job, it was Scrum,
Hmm.
very clearly.
Yeah.
But knowing how to kind of talk that talk in an interview, like, my fear is getting on an interview and going,
I knew you go.
uh,
I knew you.
could you, so I don't want to do that.
I knew you were
So,
going to say that. I knew
so
you were going to say
just
that.
just knowing how to kind of flip that,
Okay.
into sound, because I mean, honestly, Scrum is a way of thinking,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's you know it's just like if you were to talk to Yvette, she just kind of prattles it off. It's just like, oh yeah, blah, 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 yeah, I went to Starbucks and had a coffee. Yeah. Like that's how easy it flows. And so
Okay.
it's a mindset. It really is a mindset. So just being able to flow in that mindset easily,
Mm,
like, do I know the rules? Yes, I took the certification. I
yeah.
took the class. I've read some Scrum Master books. There's things that I've done where I have the information, but even having the information, it's like any tool you like.
Mm.
The more you use it, it's like a muscle. The stronger it gets and the easier it is to flow. So even though I have the information, the muscle is still a little bit of a weakling.
Okay. We can do that.
so,
We can do
so
that. I like it. So
that's kind
let's talk through like your first bullet point, right? If I'm looking
of
at
okay.
your resume, where you supervise and manage the performance of your team, right? And you dealt with the safety. And just so y'all know, I tell Cree this all the time. Her resume is fire because she dealt with a lot of safety. She dealt with a lot of transportation. And as we know, one of the critical elements that's happened over the last week was transportation, was the safety. And so for her to understand the safety and the criticalness of a situation makes her so ideal for Scrum. Because what happens when you're in a Scrum environment, you have to understand the constraints, right? You have to understand the risk. You have to understand the capacity. So the way she adds that in is when she was a supervisor and she was managing the performance, right? She had to ensure that her team was able to articulate their needs so that they could perform in a way that was productive for the customer. So what she did was she ensured that everyone was in alignment so that they could deliver high performance, right? So she ensured that her team was a high performance team based on what they need, right? So the question would be, tell us a time when you had to help a team member that was lacking or a team member that wasn't caught up to speed. And so what you can say based on, and I'm basing this strictly on your resume. Well, there was a time when I was a supervisor, there was a time where one of my team members, they were not performing to the standard we needed them to. So what I did was ensure that they paired with one another. And when they paired with one another, they were able to think better together because two people working together, is better than one person working alone. And being in an agile environment, an agile way of thinking, we want to establish psychological safety for everyone, that just because you don't know doesn't mean you can't learn. And so with that, I developed knowledge transfers, KT sessions. So if the person that wasn't performing well, they were able to transfer that knowledge. And then I made sure we kept in a repository, something like Confluence, where you keep the knowledge and you share the knowledge in an open space so that everyone can gain an understanding of what needs to be done and how it can be done and how it can improve. What I also did was like a retrospective. I ensured that we what did we learn from this, right? What did we glean from this, and how can we do it better? So that way, the person that maybe wasn't performing in the way we wanted them to, we're able to bring them along, ensuring one psychological safety was of the utmost importance, and knowing that we can work and we're only going to get better because just as anything, you start with what you know and you understand that what you have right now is good enough, and then you grow and you build on that knowledge.
Right.
So what you did in that scenario, you added in psychological safety. Psychological safety is one of the pillars in Agile. It's one of the pillars in Scrum. So all you do is you infuse those Agile words, you infuse those Agile terminologies so they understand, right? The interviewer understands. She understands Agile. And if they're worth their weight in salt, they're going to understand that you know Agile because you're saying those keywords.
Right.
When you're talking about Confluence, when you compare a platform that you have in your previous job to Confluence, that you understand that there's a repository for everyone and you can share knowledge. Then you called it a KT session. And right, it sounds like kitty. I'd be like, what y'all talk? What's a kitty? I'm like, why? But the people talk fast. So it sounds like a kitty, right? But it's a KT session, a knowledge transfer. And so you let the interviewer know that we're going to share our knowledge, that is an open environment, and we're respectful. So you just gave them at least like 5 agile principles at one time, just based off your one bullet point.
Okay.
And so
And
that's
actually,
how you infuse it.
in actuality, I mean, what you're saying is actually kind of spot on in terms of what
Mhm,
I would do, because I mean, because like I worked for transit, New York City Transit. So I worked for
mhm,
transit, which is the metro station, the subway station in New York City. And so I worked for the construction department. So my
mhm,
department, my people, they had to, the contractors that were working on the tracks, they had to keep them safe. So they had to
mhm,
set up certain, they're called flags, but it's lighting. They had to
mhm,
set up certain lighting to warn the trains that's coming, because a lot of times it was on live track,
mhm.
that people are out here and they're working, and to slow down. And
Okay.
so oftentimes, I mean, yeah, sometimes you had, people that were kind of slacking,
Mhm,
and and they didn't they weren't working up to capacity. But a lot of times it was more like when I had new people that was coming in, that
mhm.
all they had was the classroom setting, but
Okay.
classroom and real world are two very different things. And
Mm,
so you would talk to them verbally, you would give them a breakdown, like a sprint, you know
okay.
before the sprint.
Yeah.
Um uh what is that called?
Sprint planning. Sprint
Huh?
planning.
Right. Right. So, when you have the sprint planning, when you have that little conversation before everyone kind of goes and does their job, you do have that conversation, and then you do pair them up with somebody who's a little bit senior that can kind of watch them while they're out there. And then,
Mm,
of course, you go out there and you watch them again, because it was a very safety sensitive job. But
mm,
it is that. It's literally that. Everything that you said is literally that. So
mm.
it's just a matter of, okay, throwing in the software, but like
And that's
Confluence,
the
like I.
thing with Scrum is not just about software. And if they're worth anywhere that you're interviewing, they're worth their weight in salt if they understand that Scrum Agile is not just for software development, right? Now, is that where it started? But that's not where it stopped, right? You can take it to academia, you could take it to nursing, you could take it everywhere, right? You could bring it in your family. I use it in my business, right? And every component of my business is not software. So, and that's great that you can understand that and see that. And you said something. That's how I know you know what you're talking about, Cree, because you said to understand their capacity, right? That's capacity planning. How much can they do, right? Because we're looking at the risk, we're looking at the complexity, and we're looking at the effort, right? And so this is what you say. When we had new people and we were trying to see what can we really do, we it's kind of, and this is how you infuse it, right? It's kind of like when you're planning for your sprint and you have to do story points. Me as a supervisor, along with my team, because I integrate it into the team, and I ask the team, team, how much can we truly do? If we look at the risk, right? How much risk will it be when we're looking at these different safety measures? How much complexity is it when we're putting down those tracks and we have to bring back those trains in? How complex is it? So we're looking at the risk, the complexity, and the effort. How much energy will we have to spend to get this task done? And I kind of gave it to my team in that way so they understood if it's a 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, and if it's 21, if it's 13 or 21, in my head, and I articulated this to my team, that's too much. Do we need other resources? Do we need to break this down? Do we need it on another shift? So you see how you infuse capacity planning in there, you infuse story points in there, and then what a great Scrum Master knows is when you have a problem, if you want to solve a problem on a team, you take it to the team. And
Right.
so that's what, like Lisa Atkins, in her books, Coaching Agile Teams, that's what she talks about. Anytime you're having a problem on your team, you want to know how can we solve this problem on our team, you take it to the team. Team, what do we do? And so so you just articulated to the interviewer, you understand how to do story pointing, you understand how to do capacity, you understand how to take it to the team, and you also understand that you're not the boss, but you're the facilitator. So they
Right.
understand you have facilitation skills even in challenging settings, right? And then this is how you also can answer the question in the form of a user story. And then you can tell the result in the form of the acceptance criteria. So this is how that looks. Well, as their supervisor, I wanted to ensure that we follow the safety protocol so that no one will be hurt and that our trains will be on time. And in my department, our criteria, right, what we accepted was high standards. And we had to make sure that one, that if we're, pushing this out, we pushing the trains out, are the railroad tracks safe? And I'm just paraphrasing here, right? You know the true
Right.
details, right? So
Right.
I'm just like imagining in my head. So
Right.
we had to make sure that the train tracks were safe. We had to make sure that everything was aligned. We had to make sure that the passengers out the way so that our safety record was compliant because our criteria and the way we accepted things and the way my leaders expected things to be delivered was of the highest priority. What you just did, you answered them in the form of a user story as
Right.
a I want so that.
So as
You
right.
gave them the acceptance criteria of how you know this is done because you just flip those words around. You said our criteria of acceptance. In their head, they should be saying acceptance criteria. Huh. And she knows how to write a good user story. And she
Right.
understands what the acceptance criteria is for that user story to be complete. So I
Right.
see how you answered and you spoke to your resume in the form of a user story acceptance criteria. And so that's how you infuse what you did with Agile and with Scrum. Does that make sense?
It does. It
What,
does.
what questions
And
do you
and
have?
it's funny, wait, but it's funny because you're like, oh, I use agile in all areas of my life, and I'm like, yeah, she agiles me all the time. So Cree, like, why are you saying you can't do that? It's like, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, she's scrumming me, she's scrumming me.
Oh my, you know me. You know me. And I just sit there. I'm like, I just sit there with like, all right, you know where we're going with it. I'm gonna take you back to class. I'm gonna take you back to the happy path. So, audience, for those in the chat, so if you have questions or if you want to see it in a different way, drop that in the chat. And we have some more people saying hello. So hello everyone out there. And if you're just joining us, we are doing a live interview and coaching session with my client, Cree. I love all my clients. So I said that about every one of them. So when I tell you, world, when I tell you, I have some amazing clients, and these are some amazing, amazing Black women. I was just on a call earlier with a consulting agency. So I would like to, hopefully I can partner with them in the future. And I told them, I said, if you want some Scrum Masters, I got hundreds of women over here. They're ready to go and they're well trained. I said, now when you're ready to partner, let me know and I'll send them your way because they're ready to go on day one. They're certified and ready to go on day one. So hopefully in the near future, I can partner with that agency to send some great women over there. All right, Cree. So what you got for me? Any other questions? Am I on the right track? How is this landing? Is this making sense for the interview? Because that's what I really want you to get from this, that it's helping you with the interview process.
It's definitely landing because you're just looking at my resume, but you're really on point on what the job is, and that's just looking at my resume. So your definition of it is dead on, is spot on.
Oh, good. Okay. And I'm glad you said that. So now we're going to dig through your resume and do the definition of done and the definition of ready, right? So that you can infuse those into your resume as well. So they say, tell us about a time when you had to push something out to your team, but it wasn't quite ready. How did you handle that situation in an environment where you thought something was ready to be worked on? You maybe, and they're going to look at your resume. Maybe you thought the train was ready to be pushed out. What did you do in that situation where it really wasn't ready? And this is what you would say. Well, from just the way I think, the way I see things, right, is that there's no such thing as failure. Failure is just a learning opportunity. So everything that happens, we can learn from it. But what I did learn from that situation is ensure that the team had, the definition ready and the definition of done. And we implemented that criteria of, we know the train is ready to be pushed out the station by this, and this. And then at the end of the evening, right, we know that this is done. We know that the shift is done by this, and this. And what that helped us to understand is, what are our working agreements? What do we agree to as a team so that we hold ourselves accountable for what we're doing and how we're completing things? And we're also holding one another accountable for the quality. So it's built in QA, if you would say, and that's how you say it, right? QA, because say you're interviewing at a tech company. That's a tech term they understand, because
Right.
most times you want to do QA to make sure that it's, has good quality, right? You
Right.
also use the DOR. So you can, if you want to use some slang, right? I call it agile slang. If you want to use the agile slang, it's the DOR or the DOD, right? So it's like capital D, small o, capital D.
Well,
All
that's
right.
definition of done, right?
Definition of done.
Right.
And then the definition of ready, capital D, lowercase o, capital R. So the definition of ready. So that's how you can infuse that into that question of, tell me about a time when. And when they start that question, it's going to be something negative, but you turn that negative into a positive, because you, as a Scrum Master, you need to understand the mindset. And the mindset of a really great Scrum Master is that there's no such thing as failure, only learning opportunities. Because when you're dealing with code and when you're dealing with engineers, right, software engineers, sometimes you could write that code and you think you have it perfect. But if you don't do a peer review, or if you have newer team members that may not be as experienced, or maybe you're building something totally new, you can release that and it did not turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out.
Right.
You have to create that environment as the Scrum Master to say, it's okay, team, we got this. It's okay,
Right.
we're going to get through this. And so you let the interviewer know that there's no such thing as failure, only learning opportunities.
Right.
Make sense?
It does.
Okay, I like it. I like it. And then let's go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Me?
Uh-huh.
No, 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 no.
I'm
No,
hearing
no,
things.
I was, that's probably feedback.
Okay. So let's do, okay. So this is another bullet point on your resume where it says supported document processing and formatting, ensuring accuracy and timely delivery in a fast-paced environment. That's a good bullet point because when you're looking at supported document processing, so there's a, well, tell us about a time when maybe there wasn't enough information and you had to go retrieve that information. How do you handle that type of situation when you don't have enough information? You said, well, it's really partly about being agile, being adaptable, and being flexible. Because what we understand from an agile perspective, that we don't want to over document things, and we are okay with having just enough to get started and understand that we'll learn more along the way. So, what I would do in a situation where there wasn't enough documentation, what can we learn? And then where can we document it so we always have access to it so that no one has to feel like they can't access the knowledge? Similar to Confluence, keeping it in a shared repository so we create an opportunity for openness, transparency, and respect. And so that's how you would handle that question. Like, tell us about a time when there was
Right.
enough documentation.
Right.
Because, and this is how you differentiate it in your head. You don't want too much documentation in Agile because too much documentation will slow you down.
Right.
That's what waterfall is, right? When you're looking at the project management side of things,
Right.
heavy, heavy, heavy documentation. Everything has to be documented, known, and laid out before we can even get started. So
Right.
that project plan is probably like 5 sheets long, right? And then it's probably over 100 line items on that just one document just to get started. Oh, and by the way, we got to do tons of interviews, right?
Right.
Just to even get one thing started. But in Agile, we learn as we go and we build incrementally. So what
Right.
I saw was that even though we didn't have the supporting documentation, we can add in notes, just as you would in Jira, right? You have that comment section and you
Right.
add in the comments so that you can go back to it later on and you can learn information. And also a picture is worth 1,000 words. So maybe attaching a PDF or a document just so people can get the full picture of what
Right.
we're doing and what we could do for the future so we have access to it. And that's from your resume. That's a
Right.
little like a bullet point from your resume. So does
Right.
that make sense?
It does. It absolutely makes sense.
Okay.
And knowing what my resume is, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see how that fits.
So you see how it fits. Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Let's go to another bullet point. Let's see, formatting files, so showcasing technical expertise in legal documentation. So when you're looking at technical expertise, that is another great place for a user story, right? That you don't want to over emphasize all the technical aspects of it, but you want to deliver business value. So this is where you add that in, right? And you would like a BD, the business value. And so you understand the technical expertise because you're delivering value to the customers and you're understanding exactly what they want and what they need so that you have enough technical details to build out something solid and something powerful.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So they
It
say,
does.
well, tell us about how would you, if they're looking at this, how would you gather information, if you needed more information about something technical that you had never known before? Well, understanding, what the business value is and understanding what the needs of a customer would be. And that's how you gain that knowledge about what's needed. You can also do a design session. How are we going to design this so that in the future and going forward, we're catering to the right persona.
Right.
So you added so many elements of Scrum. You added building a persona. So you make sure that you're delivering for the right person. You're delivering for the audience that you need, right? Just
Right.
like as a business owner, when you're building your business, you're looking at who are you building this for? What problem do they have? And what problem are you going to solve? That's the
Right.
same thing in Agile. It's the persona or it's the person that you're going to build it for, your ideal client, your ideal customer, and that you're infusing that Agile language in there so they understand, okay. And then you're going to do a design session. Yeah. Well, how are we going to build this out? How is it going to look? What's it going to
Right.
be for? What do they need? See how
Right.
you touched on like all things Agile right there, right?
Right.
So what question do you have, Creeks? I know I'm talking a lot. Now it's your turn. Tell me.
um, well, no, you really kind of, you really, it's really landing what you were saying. So I have less questions now.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, okay.
I have less questions now. You gonna give me a cheat sheet, right? No, I'm just playing.
No, no, no. I believe in a good cheat sheet, right? It's the notes. It's the notes, of course. And I can do a transcript from this too, so that's easy. But no, most definitely, and that's why we do interview prep, right?
Right.
Um, any good leader knows, right? And this, let me go into the leadership piece for a minute, because as a Scrum Master, you're a leader, right? And so,
Right.
no, it's not bad to have an aid, right? A QRF, a quick reference guide, right? A QRG,
Yeah.
yeah, QRG, a quick reference guide, so you can reference it, so you're prepared. No, preparation is what you need.
Hmm.
Any good leader knows that you prepare your people so they don't have to step on the landmines. But
Well,
a lot of good leaders can't prepare their people because they don't know themselves. But go ahead. That's a whole nother podcast.
I do. I just think I have to be careful because I was a supervisor, and I know in Scrum there are no supervisors, and
Mhm,
so there was a certain amount of authority that I needed to take
mhm, mhm,
because I was a supervisor. You
mhm,
know,
mhm,
it's just that I was just implementing a lot of Scrum methodology
mhm, mhm,
in the performance of the job. So how do
mhm,
I avoid the pitfall of being like, yeah, I had to tell them to go do that. You're like, how do I
mm.
avoid that pitfall?
Instead of telling someone to go do that, you coach them. You
Okay.
coach them in a different direction, and
Okay.
you are able to sometimes, right, in Agile you have to just kind of let it fall apart for it to come back together, right?
Right.
And so you gave them advice, and you gave them the coaching, and you gave them the guidance to be able to be successful. And
Right.
so when you're looking at authority and power, it's perfectly fine, right? But you transition that, instead of authority and power, it's coaching, direction, and guidance. It's just articulating those words in a different way, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna still have authority, right? And so catch this, because there's different leadership styles. You
Right.
have your dictatorial leader, you have your servant leader, you have your transformational leader. So you can say you led your team through a transformation.
Right.
Like, what? Mind you, you just said another agile term, right? Because agile coaches are transformational coaches. They're
Right.
transformational leaders. So you can lead and you can still have authority, but you lead through influence, right?
Right.
So as a scrum master, right? And this is how you answer that question. Well, how do you feel about authority? Because we see on your resume, you've been a supervisor, you've been a lead. How do you feel? And how do you handle authority? How does that feel for you, right? What do you feel about power? I think power is good because as a scrum master, I lead through influence. I
Right.
lead through transformation because I coach my teams in a direction that's good for the team, just based on past experience, based on where they are at the moment, and
Right.
based on what we need to deliver to our customer. Because at the end of the day, I want to protect my team, which is the same thing I did in every role, every leadership role that I've held. I served my team and I protected them from the outside interferences that could distract us and slow us down.
Okay.
Mm. So see how You said the same thing,
Right.
you just rephrased it in agile terminology. Does that make sense?
Yes, because it was more supportive, and um, one of the things in agile is about
Mm,
having, respect, and having an open environment where people are comfortable, where you can have the hard conversations about, okay, why do you think you're having an issue with X?
mhm,
So,
mhm,
it does allow you to have the hard conversations without it being, you know, um, I said, go do that.
mhm, mhm,
It's like, where do you think I could help you best in assisting you to get, do you need more coaching? Would you like to work with someone on this project? Would you, and that's kind of more Scrum. It kind of gives you that, that kumbaya love hug.
mhm. Because it's about respect for others, right? And respect for the team.
Right.
You just said something that was really powerful. Respect, coaching, the team. What did you just say, Cree? Oh man, it just slipped my mind.
I, I I said it allows you to have the hard conversations.
There we go. Yes. So the hard
Um,
conversation is radical candor. And
okay.
that's where you add in your leadership, right?
Right.
Having radical candor does not have to be disrespectful, but it could be from a place of leading from the heart. There's a book called Radical Candor, and she talks about just being upfront, open, and honest, and having those hard conversations, which a good leader knows how to have. So this how you know. And Creed, so I'm gonna tell you this as well. So when you're going into the organization and when you're interviewing with the organization, remember that you are interviewing them as well, right?
Right.
So listen for key indicators of, are you going to be in a culture that's toxic? Are you going to be in a culture where the leaders don't have enough courage to talk directly to you, but they'll talk about you, they'll talk around you, and they'll tell everybody else about you. That you, what you'll know by that is that you have a weak leadership. You have
Okay.
weak leaders that only know how to do tasks, only know how to be dictators, but have no idea of how to have radical candor and lead from the heart. If you care about your people, whether they're full time, part time, contract employees, whatever the case may be, if you care about people, people first, right? People first leadership, then you can have direct a conversation, radical candor, still be nice, still be loving. So you're gonna say, well, Vet, what does that look like when I'm in an interview, right? So how do you communicate? And this is when they say, "Do you have any questions?" Yeah, I have a question. And mind you, always say it with a smile, right? Real big smile.
Then you hit the with the 1-2 punch.
With one too much. And it's like really gentle, right? Well, I have a question. How do you handle difficult conversations on a team? Or if you saw that maybe my team wasn't progressing the way you wanted them to, how would you handle that conversation? And they're gonna sit back and like, dang, like they're like, dang, she asking that. So you're gonna know by the way they answer if they're gonna want you and if you're gonna want them, right? And they say,
Mhm.
well, we'll just see how things go, and we just kind of leave it up in the air, and we think things kind of work out. You already know they're gonna leave you high and dry.
And dry.
Now,
Right.
when the time gets tough, they ain't gonna do nothing and they're not gonna support you.
Right.
Or, if they support you by something like, we'll support you. We'll have a conversation and we'll see where we can fill in the gaps and we'll see how I can best support you to get the most out of this. I had one leader when I interviewed with one organization. That leader he like seriously said what I just said. He was amazing. He said, you bet we're here to help you, we're here to support you. Whatever you need to make the team grow is what we want to do. Then they switched me to a different leader. That leader was like they said the things, right? They said the right things, but didn't act on those things, right? Because they would never talk directly to me. I remember a couple of times I would like send her a message or email. She wouldn't even respond. Like, just
Wow.
respond. You're not that busy. Oh, I
Right.
was busy. No, we're all busy, right? But this is about your team because you're the manager, you're the director, you're the leader, but you can't even respond to a good morning. Is there anything you need? How can I help you? And then this is a good question too to interview them. How do you like to have communication? If they don't know what their best communication style is, You want to be careful. They're going to leave you high and dry. Once again, they're not going to talk to you, right? And you can need something and they won't be there for that. Well, I mean, just, catch me, however you need to, just whatever you want to do, whatever's best for you.
Right.
No, leader
Because they
knows.
kind of want you to handle it.
Yes. And then you
Right.
be reaching out to them, send them a message or email. They'll never respond back to you, right? A
Right.
good leader knows, well, the first form of communication, send me an IM, send me, a Teams message, because I usually don't check my emails until later in the day. But if you need my support right away, send me a message, or I can give you I always give you my cell phone number. So if you need my cell phone number, you can just shoot me a quick text. I'll make sure I respond. That
Right.
leader has awareness to understand what they want and what they need ahead of time. So
Right.
yes, so you interview them and then interview you. What questions? I was talking a lot. Tell me what questions?
Um,
What question do you have answers to? What need answers to?
you answered. You answered a lot of them. You're
Yeah.
very thorough.
Okay, good.
Um, well, the leadership question was a big question. Um, I'm on the spot.
Don't be
Does
on.
anyone in internet land have a question?
Oh, let's see. I see questions about my programs,
Okay.
and I can get into that later. I don't want to stop your time right now. But yeah,
Well,
I will
why
answer.
don't you like ask me a question and see if I can answer it?
Okay, so I see here on your resume that you said implemented backlog management techniques to prioritize tasks and improve workflow efficiencies. What do you mean by that? How did you do that in your on one of your roles?
Well, that I managed a backlog when I was working as a word processor at a law firm, and so
Mhm.
basically at the intake desk, I would the work would come in from the attorneys. So I
Mhm.
basically had to intake the work from the attorneys, get any instructions that they wanted, go through the document and make sure that I had everything that I needed, and that I was clear on their instructions. It would be logged, and then I would delegate it to the staff, to the other word processors. And
Mhm.
so managing the backlog of the work that was coming in, and then having a meeting as to what needed to take place, and then allowing my word processors to then proceed with the task in the best way that they knew how.
I like that. So you talked about backlog refinement. You talked about sprint planning. So tell me, how did you know what was most important? How did you choose what was most important?
I went off the cue of the take stakeholder. So if the stakeholder um, had an urgent document,
Mhm.
but I had a document that was already in, I would openly communicate with the other stakeholder to see how urgent was the document, the first document that I received, how urgent was it? And
Mhm.
so if they said no, well, I don't need it till tomorrow morning or whatever, then I knew that the second stakeholder that's coming in saying, I need this now,
Mm.
that I would be able to accommodate. Most of the time I really tried to work it so that they could be accommodated. But there were times where, you know, I just had to do it as soon as possible because there were multiple urgent documents that needed to be done.
I like that. So you can say, to add an agile vernacular, right? Operational need and business value.
Okay.
So to make it concise, I would say it was based on the operational need, and then of course the business value, because the business needed something delivered, because it was intimate to our operation, right? We couldn't function unless they had that for the operation. I'm like, oh, okay, So
Right.
I think that's perfect. And I love that you added in stakeholders. That
I was trying. I was like,
I,
what is it called? What is it called?
I heard that. I heard that. And understanding what the stakeholders' needs are. I heard that, Cree. I heard that. I heard that. I like that. Let's see. And then this one, I see that you assisted in the creation of client presentations, formatted documents, and supported high level marketing and legal initiatives. I don't think we touched on this. I'm gonna see what you say, but
No.
I'll add to it. I'm
Uh,
gonna tell you what to say for this one. The words.
yes. So for the presentation, that was um, that was client related. It was client based. So we would be doing the presentations, and it would basically be a team collaborative, because
Mhm.
you know they needed to be built up, but again, the stakeholder would have to say, hey, I want it to kind of look like this, I want it to say that, and I'd make sure that all of the information of how the trajectory of what he wanted for the client, because it would always be a presentation for a client.
Okay.
So with the trajectory that he wanted it to go, and then once I had that information, then I could start, putting it together,
Okay.
and getting it ready. And
Okay.
so after I did my part, I would then give it to the project manager
Mm.
to let them, eyeball it and see if it's, good and on the right page. Then we would take it back to the stakeholder. And once that was, established that, okay, this is how I want it, then the stakeholder would then take it to the client. However, if it didn't, then we would have to go back into another sprint to try to, you know,
Mm.
to get the presentation in the way that they wanted it.
I like that. I heard that, Cree. I heard that. And I'm adding to I'm looking at your spreadsheet now because what is used in it's probably used in different places, but we're discussing technology here, right? Is release notes. So you do release notes anytime you're delivering something new to the business or to your customers or to your clients. And I have it on here. I'll make you a sample of good release notes. When I worked at an organization, years ago, I used to have to do the release notes because I did several things in that one job, right? So it
Right.
was like mesh posh, being a scrum master, product owner, product lead, everything,
Oh,
QA
they loved you. They
girl,
loved you. It's like, ooh, black girl wearing all the hats.
all the hats. I used to have to write the test. I used to have to test my test, right? I used to have to write the release notes. I used to have to write the user story. I'm like, how am I gonna test my own user story? Of course, I'm right. Like,
Right.
so we used to have to do release notes. So we had to take screenshots of the change that we were implementing in the system. And we used to have to put like red boxes around it. And we had to tell and articulate and explain what the change was. Now, every organization does it differently. I used to have to write BDRs, business requirement documents, before Grammarly, Cree, before Grammarly.
So
Now,
you was in trouble, in other words.
Cree. I'm like, I speak very well, but I'm like, comma, put the semicolon where? For what? For
It's
who?
like it's like when I was doing word processing, and when they started outsourcing a lot, we didn't have
Mm,
proofreaders anymore, and they
girl,
were like, you got to work on the document and proofread it. I was like, honey, I'd be reading over the same missed period for like
Free. I was like reading my paper and I said, I can't read my work because I will read it and I will read it like it's supposed to be right. I said,
right,
so asking me to look at it, I'm not going to find it, right?
right.
So I was writing a paper and I had missed a period. And my professor found the period. I'm like, out of 60 pages, you found that one period I missed, and you saw that one sentence was not italicized. I said, how'd you find that? She's like, I always pray, God.
He found it with a big red pen. That's how they found it.
She said, I found it because I asked God to let me see what I might be missing. I said, please don't pray about my paper before you
Don't
grade.
play about my.
I'm
Don't
like,
pray.
don't pray
Pray
about
I win the lotto. Okay. Don't pray about my work.
only God answers you because you found the period. But I'm gonna need you not to be praying. So she started
Pray lotto numbers for me. Okay. That's what you can pray about.
something else. That's not it. For documentation, you can always phrase it that you did the release notes, right? That you gave the notes to the customer so they
Okay.
can understand what was changing and what the developments were.
Okay.
And the way you compile is, very structured and very organized, very succinct. And so I can give you samples of release notes, and usually from what we used to do, right? We used to take a screenshot of the application that we use. At that time, we're using like something called Sky Solver and Crew Solver. You know, when I was in aviation, Crew Solve, something like that. I forget all those applications now, but we would take screenshots and like then like we were changing the legalities and the duty time and things of that nature. So we would have to show where that would change and how they would see it. And one time I was implementing something and I had to do the ellipses, right? They used to have like on the flight attendant's page, they would have like their schedule and they had ellipses. I didn't know what ellipses was. And I'm like, I wasn't even that detailed to know them little dots were there. And the girl, this is why confluence is so critical. This is why. Because she knew that everything had to have an ellipses. One, she's
Right.
like a gray-haired person in our department. She knew everything.
Right.
She knew I didn't see that ellipses, right? So they
Right.
didn't put it in the system. And I was like, I didn't even know of a such thing of ellipses. Like,
Right.
you could have told me, you know?
Right.
So, and so we had to take screenshots of that. So I'll give you a copy of release notes
Right.
in our next session.
Chat
So that
GPT would have told you.
huh?
Chat GPT would have told you.
Chat GPT, man, thank God for chat. Oh my God. I'm like, and I'm a person, I love technology and I'm so grateful for it. Like seriously, I am so serious. Yeah, so Chat GPT will tell you how to do it. And I recommend I recommend my YouTube family, when in doubt, chat it out. I'm gonna build, Creed, I tell you, I'll tell that announcement next week. But I am going to build me my own chat bot, right? And I'm
Oh,
going to build me my own chat GPT because people ask me questions about Scrum and because I do have like the hands-on practical knowledge as well as the theory,
right.
my answers will be real world, right? So I'm going to train a chat GPT to answer. So I can give you so when you have questions, right? You use my chat GPT because it's trained by me. So it's like you're just talking to your vet. So even after we have completed our thing, and I don't know how to transition. I don't know how to end. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to Cree every week. So that's the hardest part right now. Cause like I'm in the last 2 weeks of most of the clients that were in the 6-figure salary in a box. I'm
Right.
like, I gotta stop talking to them. That's why I have to launch something else.
You ain't got to stop talking to me, girl. So
Girl,
whatever.
you know what I'm now. Not on Boxer though. Girl, when I tell you I'm over Boxer, I'm like, I'm over Boxer.
Oh,
Like
boxer.
I just rather talk to people. Oh my gosh. So it be beeping. It reminds me of the chirp back in the Nokia days.
Oh, yeah.
Like chirp chirp. So I'm like, it sounded cute when I was implementing it. But yeah.
If I could say,
Yeah, tell me.
on an ending note,
Okay.
to all of the ladies out there watching in YouTube land, most definitely, if you take the Scrum Toolbox Kit and then do your certification, it'll be like a breeze. I mean, I did the certification first, then I did the toolkit, and then I took the test. But while I was sitting in that class, it was like Greek. And so, and the teacher was good. Like, I'm not, it had nothing to do with his teaching style, but, you know, there were a lot of people in the class that were like, oh, yeah, my job. Yeah, no, my job. This is Kermit the Frog. And so, I was just like, yeah, I used to operate trains, so, you know, it makes life a little bit easier because you kind of getting, because Yvette really kind of breaks it down and makes it, baby spoons. And so then when you go to the certification class, then it's like, ah, I remember that, and you won't be, you won't be me. Like I was in class, like, oh God, maybe I need another week of this,
You're so sweet.
But no, most definitely, ladies, it's definitely worth it. To just, and I don't even know. I mean, like I'm hoping that I'll be able to use the certification. My thing is I want to work remotely, so that was the purpose of getting the extra certification for me. But most definitely, it is definitely a good thing to have under your cap because Scrum really is applicable to any job. Like, because every job should be Scrum. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that little thing that they taught you when you were a kid. You know, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
That's
Mm.
Scrum. You know, it's just a nicer way to do business.
Yes. You
You
said
know,
it. That
it's
part.
it's just a nicer way to do business. It's a respectful way to talk to people,
Mm.
and to just get the work done. You know, even when something is wrong, even when something falls apart, you know, there's still a way to be respectful and get the work done. You
Mm.
know, but that's why there's so many toxic environments. And
Exactly.
there was a something that I read on LinkedIn. I wish I came up with it, but I did not. But it was something that I read on LinkedIn, and it actually said that people leave managers, not jobs.
Exactly.
Most
Yes.
people don't mind their job. Like I left New York City Transit,
Mm.
you know, because of the way it's run, because of management. I didn't leave because I hated being a train operator or I hated being a supervisor. It wasn't that. It's the toxic environment
Yeah.
that can make life very difficult. You
Mm.
know, so I'm on you know, eat, pray, love. You know, find my place in the world. You know, find what works for me. You know, I'm kind of over, me personally,
Mm.
just doing things for the bucks and
I like that.
just you know, taking on. I'm like, oh, you know, if I got to get a certification here and there, if I got to do a coaching there or there, then I'll do that. You know, because it's about my inner peace and my inner happiness.
I love that. Oh my God, Cree, thank you. That is powerful. And I know we're almost at time. Cree, I didn't even ask you how long you can go. Um,
I'm here for you, boo.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Cree. I'm not going to hold you long. We have a couple of questions. Let's see. What's going to make us stand out amongst each other and all the other perspective? Oh, hires who are saying a lot of the same things and throwing at Agile. Well, one, there's not a lot of people. You'll be surprised that a lot of people don't know how to integrate it, right? That's why I do the toolkit class so that you understand how to integrate it into everything that you do. And that's why I do the coaching. That's why, behind the scenes, we do the tailored resume because what's going to stand out is your resume first to get you the interview. And then two, to really be able to implement it because a lot of people have theory, but a lot of people don't understand how to implement it in their daily lives. So that's the difference. That's the major difference. Oh, the chat GPT is a great thank you.
And
And then it
that's
says,
what they don't, that's what they don't explain or teach you when you're doing. I went to, where did I go to? Scrum Alliance,
mm,
right? And they're all the same. They all, you know, they all teach the same thing. So it's not, I'm not saying that one school is better than the other or worse than the other, but they just teach you, you know, Scrum Mastery. They teach
mm,
you, you
mhm,
know, a little bit. They get touch a little bit on Agile methodology. They
mm,
just, you know, they give you that, and then they go out into the world. You know,
mhm,
go west, young boy. You know, like they don't teach you how to use it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the difference that I can honestly say with the toolkit class and the coaching as well. You know, definitely worth the investment. We need to learn to start investing in ourselves and stop investing in Amazon. So
Exactly.
anyway,
Mhm,
um, but
exactly.
it, it is the leg up. You know, it is the leg up in terms of having your resume be right. It is the
Mhm,
leg up and having someone go, no, say it like this,
mhm,
because you are doing that. You just need to put in this word and that word, and then you got it. And so that'll make you stand out like you have 150 years of experience, and technically you do, but
exactly.
it makes you stand out more.
I like that. And then this is a question: who's gotten a job? So we just did that maybe in December. So to be honest, it's going to take anyone when they get their resume tailored, anywhere from 30 to 90 days. But I do have women that had interviews and that they're reaching out to them. So the jobs are coming, right? And so we know that right now the job market is tough everywhere. And that's just being honest. The way this new administration has come in and swept a lot of stuff, right? That's why we're getting ready. And so that's why I'm launching another program. Korea, I'm launching another program tomorrow.
Oh, you are? That's funny.
Yes,
This girl got like 1,000 hats.
because you know why, Cree? Now it's time, and we discussed this before. Now it's with the way the administration is going now, you're going to need two tailored resumes,
Right.
right? To be able to cast your net wider, right?
Right.
Because it's not about Scrum being tighter. Now it's the job market. He's trying to get rid of the FBI, the CIA, and all federal jobs. Are
He's a
you
lunatic.
kidding me?
He's a lunatic. So,
Oh my Creed. Oh my God,
but
right?
wait, wait real quick. I want to say something to the person that was like, "Well, who got a job? Anybody get a
Mm.
job yet?" From I will say this, and I'm being honest. I honestly believe, because I have gotten, "Hey, we liked your resume." I have gotten that. My issue, and I'm talking about me, I can't speak for everybody else. My issue is that I'm looking for something specific. I am leaving this country. I am moving to Portugal, and I need a remote from anywhere job. And that is a harder niche to get into. It's not impossible, which is why I took the certification. I've had people reach out. If it was just me local, I really believe I would have had a job by now. Between the class, the coaching, and I'm still within the coaching. You understand what I mean? I mean, like I'm wrapping up. I think maybe I got another week left or so, but I'm coming to the end of that. However, I know the responses that I have gotten, especially with my resume being redone. Like after my resume got redone, I was like, oh, people are reaching out.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it isn't that the knowledge isn't being taught. It's not that well, I don't know, does she really know what she's doing? It's not that at all. Me particular, and very specific. I need I need work from anywhere. It's not
Yeah.
a remote. It's not just a remote job, because I've had lots of remote jobs. I had somebody call me the other day, and she's like, "Oh yeah," and she's all excited, and I'm like, "Well, it's remote, but just transparency. Like I'm moving to Europe," and then she's like, "Oh, it's remote continental U.S." So I've been running into that remote continental U.S. And so because of that, in terms for me, I think that's why it's been a little slower, but the information is good. It's coming from a good source. It's very knowledgeable. It's very
Thank you, Cree.
trustworthy. It
And
really is. And she didn't pay me to say that.
he did not. I
I'll
did
make
not.
a
I
little
did
money
not.
on the side later. No.
I got you. And I'm glad you said that, because next week I want us to get on flex jobs. Even this week. Do we have another session this week, or is it only next week? Are you on my calendar?
And no, it's only next week. I mean, I'm available this week, but
Okay.
it's next week.
Maybe Saturday, because I know I have some time on Saturday. But
Okay.
I want us to get on flex jobs, and you're on Dice, aren't you?
I am on Dice. I'm on flex jobs. I'm on remote jobs.
Okay.
I'm on, I've been getting a lot of scam emails from what's that place? ZipRecruiter. Stay away from ZipRecruiter, y'all. Stay away from it. It's crazy.
And you know what? I want us to, let's do this on Saturday, Cree. Find some time on my calendar for Saturday.
Okay.
Because I want us to go again through Lazy Apply. I know, like the tweet. I know, don't fuss at me, Cree. But I know we can tweak Lazy Apply.
Okay.
Even more hits. And I would like for us to go through Dice, because Dice has more remote jobs, and then they're going to have more jobs that are out the country, right? And then if we can start narrowing down our searches on flex jobs, because that's where you're going to find a lot of work from anywhere, right? And so I want us to really target that. And I heard they held him up in court, so hopefully we can hold him off a little while longer before the floodgates of people open up.
Crazy. Oh, you mean Crazy Man?
Crazy Man, yeah. Because I want us to get more volume out there. Because now that we have the tailored resume, now it's going to be about the volume, right? And you know me, Cree, I'm about that easy apply. So I want us
to love that easy apply.
Girl, Cree, I told you my story, didn't I tell you? When I was going through my pivot, right? When I was in corporate America, I said, I got to leave this place. It was horrible. It was toxic. I used to wake up every morning. This was before like Lazy Apply and all these bots and stuff. I used to wake up every morning, Cree, and do 100 before I got out the bed. 100 easy apply. I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here. I said, I'm going to get out. And I did the same thing I tell everyone to do now. I went to a career coach. She got my resume together. We did interview prep. And I was like the other girl, like, am I going to get a job? She's like, it's coming. Applying. And baby, let me tell you, Cree, I was about to get out my car right when I was this close to giving up. I was about this close from one step from giving up. Right? I'm like, this ain't working. Cree, I was about to get out the car. I was going to go into Kirkland's because I was on my day off, right? I've been crying and praying to God, like, God, this is not working. Cree, I was about to get out of my car and I wasn't going to answer the phone because I didn't know it's like a scam.
Right.
You know, that was my interview. That was my way out of the company I was at. And they hired me to be their project manager, have my own office and everything. But I had too long in my other job, Cree. It was a toxic environment because I stayed too long and it damaged my spirit too bad. And so I couldn't focus and think. I'm like, dang it. That's why I tell people, don't stay too long. Get ready. Like, get ready. So when they act a fool, you could be like, bam, bam, bam. And you just.
Well, I mean, you know, my toxic situation is different. You know,
Yeah.
you get like one of them state, federal, well, really it's federal jobs. You know, you be like, you know, well, you know, there's a pension, there's the 401k, there's a, you know, you start, but I had to let the money go.
So you know what, Cree? You know we can do.
I was like, y'all need to leave me alone.
Leave me alone. You know what we can also do? We could put in chat small businesses so that we can see what small businesses are. Mind you, right? This is the great thing about a small business versus like, you know, your Apple that's losing like tons of money, right? It's down. Well, small businesses, all they have to have is 100 people to still be good, right? To still have business going. Small business is another great way to get into a Scrum role from anything. So that's something else we need to look into. So I'm not going to tell all the secrets here because you're one of my
VIPs. Spilling too much tea, girl.
One of my VIPs. So I'll give them a little bit, but you know how we do. You know how we do on the back end. Let me put this in here because I don't want to forget. But I do want us to look at different options. And maybe even get you. We'll talk. Well, I'm not gonna give away all the secrets because prepay for the extra. So I'm gonna respect the fact.
Yeah, y'all gotta take the class. You know what I'm saying?
Prepay for the extra. So let me put this in here. And I have another idea. I'm putting, so you know me, Cree knows me. Cree know I will forget in a minute. There's another company I want to connect you with, and I'm going to do this. Oh, I've got another idea too. Ooh. I got you, Cree. Okay. Cree, I just had a really good idea. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
That's good. Oh, it's gonna be. Oh, I'm excited. That's gonna be juicy, Cree.
Okay.
That's okay. Oh, I got another.
Type them down, girl. Just type them down.
I got another idea. Oh, okay. Because we could spin it. We could spin a couple of things, Cree. So we talked about this before.
Okay.
We talked about this before. Oh, Cree. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So yeah. All right. I got some ideas, Cree. This sparked some ideas. I'm glad we did this. Yeah, I got some ideas, Cree. So yeah, we'll talk about that offline. And I know we're at an hour, so I'm gonna let us wrap up here. Let's see, do we have any more? Someone asked me, and this I want to address this. They asked me about, is there like a combination for do I do something? Oh, they read from the net. Oh, wow. I'm glad that you're coming to the next class. Great job. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. And I created something different this time. People that signed up the first 24 hours, they're going to get coaching after dark with me. You know, that's when I spill the tea. You know, when I get tired, I spill all over.
But you know what? In the first class, there were so many people. There were so many people that when it was supposed to be, we went like 3 hours. Like she would just stay. And that's, I mean, I honestly like I'm being for real. Like I wouldn't say it if I really didn't mean it. I wouldn't even be here if I really didn't mean it. Like Yvette would really go beyond the extra mile. Like, yeah, you're paying for a service, but you're getting so much more. It's like going to a restaurant and you're just, yeah, you're going to pay for your food, but it means so much more when the person that's serving you just goes way above and beyond, you know. And she does, she does, because she has a passion for Scrum,
I do.
and she has a passion for wanting to help Black women,
Yeah.
and she just has a passion for just you know, just wanting to be of service.
Yeah. Oh, and,
And
that's
so I
my
mean, I
leadership
really do
style.
mean that. Like it's
So you
definitely
gonna make me add another session. I'm gonna need Creed. Creed, you gonna be on my marketing team. Let me put you on the payroll as the marketing executive.
it's funny. See, like I'm, I was saying, she was like, "Do you mind being on camera?" I'm like, "Well, my background is really like singing and acting,
That's not what she said, Creed.
I was
No,
like, I'm really
no.
not camera
Let
shy.
me tell y'all what she said. She's like, I don't mind being in front of the camera, Vett. That's not an issue, okay? Like, I
I
can
just,
do
I don't
that.
want to sound dumb.
And we both came in our makeup today. Usually, the way we be looking is
Yeah,
sweatpants
for real. Like, at least I said, let me do something, because
on the red lipstick.
normally it's like bandana and
Oh my God, Cree, I love
stain on
you.
the shirt.
Oh, I absolutely love you. You are a rock star. I appreciate it. And I know we could talk forever, so I'm gonna let you go, Cree. And
Okay.
so we can, hang on for me because I want to share this with you before I forget and while it's hot, so
Okay.
that you can work on it and then book some time with me on Saturday or Sunday. I'm free pretty much both days.
Okay.
Kids around, Lord Jesus, but I want you to start working on this so that before our next session next week, we can kind of chart this out
Right.
to see how much traction we're getting.
Right.
Because what I want to do before we end our sessions, if we need to tweak something, I want to make sure we do that. And yeah, I want to follow up. I want to make sure.
My phone was on 5%. I was like, Lord, let me plug this in. No, I'm good. I plugged it in.
Oh Lord,
I know, what is she doing? I'm plugging in a phone so we don't have dead air.
I love some Creed. Oh my gosh. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for those that signed up for the Scrum Master Workshop. Like I said, I'm dropping a big announcement tomorrow. So if you are not on my email list, you need to get on it because that's how I'm going to announce it to you first. And I'm going to give them first give. And Creed, I know Creed talks about me, but with the next program I'm launching, I'm only doing 25 people. I don't know if she.
Okay.
I'm only doing.
It was a lot. It was a lot of people.
Because Creed, this next one is about to be real. You hear me?
Okay.
It's about to because you just said it. I offer a lot, and I told my son what I wanted to do, right? And I told him the price point I wanted, and he was like, "Why are you doing that?" Mind you, he's all about like he's like my business manager. He said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I know people need help. I know that women need help and they need something more, and I wanted to give them that." And so, yeah, this one is about to be. It's about to be nice. I'm trying to find.
I'm looking forward. But
Yeah.
thank you, ladies, for coming.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it most definitely. I don't see the link, but yeah, it's coming out. So if you're not on my email list, get on my email list, or email me at vettjet.com. But it's going down. Sign up. Space is limited in the Scrum Master Workshop. I'm keeping that small as well, and it fills up really fast. So yeah. All right, ladies, have a good one. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe, like, and follow. And if you're watching the future, make sure. Oh no, it's not a typo. Does the URL have a typo? It does not. So, that was your Vett's. Hold on, this one does. I'm glad I said that. So this one does. I spelled it wrong, and it's supposed to be. Why isn't it? So it's only one M. So yeah, I spelled it wrong in the I think in my. Let me see. There we go. Oh no, I spelled it right. Oh, the R is missing.
The
That's
R is
cool. The
missing.
R is missing. Yeah. So no, it's not a typo. You need to do it just like you see it, or you won't find it. If you spell the right way, then you're not gonna find it. You won't find it. So I spelled it wrong. Yeah. So I own
She
that.
ain't spelling wrong on purpose. It's like one time I was trying to, years ago, I was trying to set up a email, and I was supposed to have rising star. It's supposed to be rising star. Girl, I spelled raising star. I was so mad when I figured that out.
I thought
No,
about changing it. I said, but this thing is everywhere. Forget
like,
it.
what kind of client she got? She can't spell rising.
Girl. I can't spell scrum. You know what I'm saying? The R is there. It's a hard R,
The
But
R is silent. The R is silent.
most times, Priya, I'm doing these sales pages when I'm half sleepy and half tired at 1 and 2 in the morning. So it's like, you get what you get. So the R is missing. The R is missing.
No,
Ladies,
the
I
R
love
is
you all.
silent.
The R is silent. It's silent. Ladies, I love you all. Cree, thank you. I love you to pieces. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for showing up, right? And doing the hard work. So I know I push a little bit sometimes, right? A gentle nudge, gentle coaching. So thank you so much.
57.
Thank you so much. Well,
You're
ladies,
welcome.
have a good one. Share, like, and subscribe. We'll talk later. Bye for now.